Welcome with me to the podium, Mr. and Mrs. Olusodo.
Well, I just want to welcome each and every one of us here this morning. Like she said, we are truly delighted to be in your midst. This is a ministry that God gave to us. In actual fact, we actually left the pulpit ministry to take on our marriage ministry full blast, really. I'm an ordained minister of God and a pastor of churches, but I felt that this is really the calling that God wants us to really focus on. So we left the church pulpit ministry to say, let's do this. Marriage is an institution that God ordained, and I believe that the blueprint, God gave us the blueprint itself for marriage. So this morning I'd like to bring my delectable, beautiful wife to the microphone. But I call her my boss. You know, when you are a boss and you have a boss. And so what I say to people is God made us, the men, the heads. But the women are the hearts of the family. And so the head does not work without the heart. And really, I believe that you will bless this morning. You're welcome.
Praise the Lord. We have such a short time, and we want to impact you as best as we can. And we're happy to be here today. And I know that God is also here, because the Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered together in His name, is here in our midst. And the Bible also says that in the presence of the Lord there is fullness of joy, and at His right hand there are pleasures forevermore. I know that none of us will live here the same way we've come here today. I know that the Lord will minister to us. I know that we'll take some decisions here today, and I know that our lives will not remain the same. Our topic is making marriage work in challenging times. I'll say marriage is a covenant, and it's between a man and a woman, not the way the world is portraying marriage now. It's between a man and a woman, and the third party in the marriage is God. So God is involved in our marriage. So I don't want you to think that it's just me and my wife. No, God is also there. And that's why we have to be very careful what we do with one another, because there's someone up there that sees what we are doing in our marriage and is the one that will also reward us. So I want to establish that marriage is a covenant. I also want to say that marriage is sacred and it must be treated as such. That means whatever you do in your marriage also affects the next generation. In fact, third generation. So how you handle your marriage will affect your children, it will affect your children's children. So these are key things that I want us to take note of. So that when you are fighting your wife, your children are looking at you. And by default, you are programming them that in marriage you must fight. You must beat each other, you must shout. So you are recording that into them. And if your marriage, you make it so beautiful, they will look up to getting married. No matter whatever they hear on the internet or whatever anybody says, they could see their parents' marriage and they will desire to be married. So let's be careful. Also, marriage is sacrificial. It has to do with making sacrifices for one another. Marriage is not 50-70. Marriage is I give 100% and you also give 100%. That's the way marriage works. So it's sacrificial. And the love in our marriage should be the agape love, which is the love that Christ had for us. In Ephesians 5, he talks about the kind of love that should be in our marriage. He says it's the kind of love that Christ had. It's unconditional. It has nothing to do with what you have done or what you have not done, or how good you are, or how perfect you are. I love you just the way you are. I accept you with all your flaws and your weaknesses. That is the way it's meant to be, an agape love. So we say marriage is sacrificial. Marriage is also meant to be enjoyed and not to be endured. You're not supposed to be enjoying your marriage. You're supposed to be enjoying your marriage. So let's take note of that. And in marriage, we are to make each other happy. My desire is to make my husband happy, and your desire is to make your wife happy. So very, very key. We need to make each other happy. Also, it's a teamwork. God said a man should not be alone. Let me make him a helpmate. We're supposed to work as a team. We are working towards the same goal. We may have different opinion on a particular issue, but when we remember every time that our opinion may be different, but we are working towards the same goal, that will really help our marriage. And it will not bring competition into our marriages, and it's also not going to bring, apart from competition, when you work towards the same goal, you don't see the other partner as an enemy because you have a goal. Now, I also say that marriage is a house. Marriage is a house. And how we build our house determines what happens to that house in challenging times. It's a house. Proverbs chapter 24, 3-4, verse 3-4 says, true wisdom is an house builded, and by understanding it is established. And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. I will say marriage is a house. Wisdom tells you what you can do at a particular time. Understanding is what establishes your relationship. And with knowledge, you will be truly happy. So you need to invest into your marriage. You need to acquire knowledge. You need to read books. You need to attend seminars. That will also help your marriage to grow, and it will bring love and unity in your marriage. And I also want to lay a particular point here that change is personal. In marriage, we always want to change our partner. You are not to change your partner. You cannot change your partner. Change is a personal decision. It's not your duty to change your partner, but God can change you. And when God changes you, it affects your partner. So most of us, we're always desiring our partner to change. But we need to change first. When we adjust ourselves and we change, it's going to rub off on our partner. And you see your partner will begin to respond amicably towards you. For example, you have an anger issue. Your partner cannot change you. You have to work on it and change yourself. When you change yourself, your environment is better. Your husband also responds to you in a better way. So we can't change each other. But God will change us. When we allow Him to change us, it will affect our spouses. Praise the Lord. Also, I want to talk about personality. We need to know each other's personality. If you have not done a personality test, please go and do one. We talked about sanguine, melancholy. I don't know whether you've heard about it, whether you are choleric or you are phlegmatic. We have other personality tests now that are more broad because research keeps going on. But the basic ones are the 4 that I've spoken to you about. Your spouse will also be an introvert or an introvert. Knowledge is very key. When you know your spouse's personality, it helps you to manage your spouse's temperament. And then you have a better understanding of who you have married. If you don't have that knowledge, you will think that some people are doing it intentionally, but that's their personality. For example, a choleric is a driver. The choleric just want things to be done. Even say you have a headache, they are not bothered. Just do what I ask you to do. Once you have done it, then you can say, okay, how is your headache? But you think he's doing it intentionally. I'm a choleric. My husband is a flake and a sanguine. I'm a choleric, I'm a melancholy. Melancholy, they are analytical. They are deep thinkers. Little things that doesn't affect a sanguine, melancholy will think and think and think and think about the issue. So please, we don't have much time, but go and find out the temperament of your spouse. Now, what are challenging times? It could be conflict in marriage, which could be as a result of your personality, you not understanding your spouse, or one issue or the other. It could be ill health when one partner is having challenges with their health. And it could be this vocal world we are in that is volatile, it's complex, there's so much uncertainty. It could be, and you know Nigeria, we are going through economic crisis right now. These are challenging times when the husband may lose his or her job, the wife also may, and then you find out that the resources that used to be available is no longer available anymore. So these are challenging times. So it could be storms in your marriage between each other. And how do we overcome these challenging times? How do we make our marriage to work? The number one point I'm going to talk about is building friendship. Build friendship. Most of us, we don't build friendship in our relationship. And that is what helps us to overcome challenging times. When you are friends with one another, you will be able to sort out your issues amicably, even without a third party coming into it. And how do you build friendship? You need to have quality time with one another. Create time for one another. Some people will say the environment we are in will not allow us to create time. Be intentional about it. Because the success of your marriage is based on it. Some of us, we run this routine, Monday to Friday, work, and we all come home. It's late, we hardly find time to talk. This person is sleeping. If not, we quickly make love, we are going to work the next day. And then on Saturday, we want to do all the house chores. And then Sunday, we are in church the whole day. So, how do you create time? How do you spend time? We call something love map. Is you being familiar with your spouse's world. You know his or her likes. You know her fears. She knows your dreams and your goals. You are acquiring information. And you cannot get information if you don't talk, if you don't spend time. When our marriage was still very young, my husband comes back from work. Once he comes back from work, he's coming straight to the kitchen. If the children have not eaten, he quickly look for something for them to eat. Bathe them, they are off to bed. And it's me and him in the kitchen, and we start to talk. And that has become a routine in our home. Once he comes in, we start talking. And he will say, we had drama at work today. I say, I want to hear the drama. And at times when he comes, I say, a parent showed me pepper today. Oh, this girl was just all over the place. And we start that conversation. And we keep talking and talking and talking and at times we make love. And because he understands women, he understands me. He knows that, look, I need to talk with my wife. I need to make her to feel comfortable and close to me. After making love at times, you can talk to 2 a.m. or 3 and we're going to work the next day. Build friendship. When you update that love map, when you build that relationship, it will also help you to surprise one another. If I know his best magazines now, my way from work, I'll pick it. If I know my wife like ice cream and chocolate cake like I do, he buys ice cream. What does that do? It makes you to appreciate one another. It should be vice versa. Not the man doing for the woman alone. Woman, go out of your way and do for the man. You know their likes. If you know my husband likes pounded yam and I've not done it for quite a while, make it. Cook the vegetable. Surprise him. As we do this, the love, the passion, the joy increases in our marriage. And when difficult time comes, it's not going to be too hard for us to overcome it because we are friends. Even whether you like it or not, you are angry with him or maybe he has done something. But because you have built that friendship, before you know it, you are gisting already. Then you will remember, I'm angry with him. But you have gisted with him. So we need to build that friendship. Now, another point is being fond of one another. Fondness and admiration. Be fond of each other. That is, you have been able to put their flaws and their weaknesses aside. And you have decided to concentrate on their strength. That is, despite the weaknesses and the flaws that we have, whether I press toothpaste in the middle, or my husband is workaholic, or I spend money too much, we have decided to put these differences aside. And we have decided to respect and honor one another. Those qualities you saw in him or her before you say yes to them, those qualities are still there. And they're even doing many more. It could be just bathing the children. It could be buying dispenser water, ensuring that the gas does not finish on time. He replaces another one. Those are good things. So when you think about those things, you focus on them and you appreciate your spouse. Some of us, we don't even appreciate our men and our women as well. Appreciate your wife. Say wonderful things to your wife. Tell them about how good they are. Because fondness and admiration is telling you that despite all his flaws, I know he's a good man. And I know she's a good woman. And I'm going to respect her and I'm going to honor her. When we do that, it prevents contempt from coming into our marriage, which is what most marriages have after a long time. Contempt is when you feel your spouse is worthless. You've known everything about him. What do they call that? See finish. You know everything. So you are not excited about the woman or the man anymore. And then whatever they do, you don't appreciate. That's contempt. But when you are fond of each other, you think about each other. You focus on each other's strength. And you appreciate one another. Then it won't be difficult in challenging times. Because you've already laid a foundation of friendship. Another thing is turning towards each other. Every single day, we are always having interaction with one another. Every single day. And we are turning towards each other. We are making beats of connection, emotional connection with one another. It depends on how we handle that on a daily basis. It could be a question. It could be a joke. It could just be an affectionate look. But how do you turn towards it? Both parties. I know we women at times, we ask funny, stupid questions. And why are we asking it? Because we just want to connect with our spouses. And some men will say, what kind of a question is that? That's stupid. Doesn't she know better? I'm not going to answer her. And you ignore her. You are ignoring. You are not turning towards. Or the wife too. Why is he saying, I thought he should be more intelligent than this. Turn towards. And don't answer, are you stupid? What kind of a question? That is not the way it's done. You can say, honey, I didn't understand that question. Can you paraphrase it? Is this actually what you are saying? And he will answer you. And from there, conversation will start. So how do you do the turning towards? The more you turn towards each other, you are depositing an emotional deposit into your bank account. So that when you need it, at the time you need it, you have something to draw out from. Turning towards should be ratio 5-1. Then it could be a joke. Some of us will crack dry joke. Me, I don't know how to crack joke. I'm too strict. I'm an introvert. So if I should crack joke now, my husband will know that it's a dry joke. But still, he will laugh and say, that joke is from heaven. I say, yes, I know. So how do we turn towards one another? How do we? It's a daily thing. Don't ignore your wife. Don't turn away. As much as they want to connect. Some of us, our husband just wants to hug us. Maybe he looked at his wife and said, I married a pretty woman. Wants to hug you. By the time he says, hey, go, he has come again. Is that the only thing you are thinking about? The man is just trying to connect. So we must connect with one another. Couples that are not connecting, then eventually divorce comes into it. Because when you don't connect with your spouse, you turn, instead of turning towards, you turn away or you ignore. She's going to be very defensive. He is going to be very defensive. He's waiting for you. So when you also want to connect, the person blocks you out. So I'm talking about ways in which you can build friendship. Friendship is very key in difficult times. If you don't build this now, you are going to have an issue when turbulent time comes. Another thing I'm quickly going to talk about is sentiment override, which is also very important. Is how you feel towards your spouse and how you feel towards your relationship. If you have a negative sentiment override, it's going to affect what you do, what you see, and what you hear. That means that a simple sentence like, what do we have for dinner? will be interpreted in a negative way. It may mean that it's demanding. That statement is hurtful. Why should you be asking me what's there for dinner? Didn't we go to work together? So me and the slave to now cook in the kitchen. What right has he got to ask me what's for dinner? He had better just open the fridge and go and get dinner for himself. It becomes hurtful. And you can even say, this man is punishing me. So how do you feel about your spouse and your relationship? And you know, the thoughts in our hearts affect our reaction too. So work on your thoughts. But if you have a positive sentiment override for your spouse or your relationship, even statements that seems to be negative, you can turn it into positive. What's it for dinner? Maybe a different thing entirely. Look at the way the negative sentiment interrupted it. Positive sentiment, you have a right feeling for your spouse and your relationship. You can say, oh, honey, we have rice and plantain. Oh, or should I make this for you? We ate that yesterday. Can you see two different things? But if you have negative and I say, you look nice today, a person with negative sentiment override will change it and say, oh, sarcasm. He's not being truthful. He's just trying to intimidate me. So we have to have positive sentiment override. And you see, friendship builds positive sentiment override in our marriages when we are good friends and when we work on the thoughts on our mind. You know, there's a book by Joyce Meyer. It says The Battlefield of the Mind. I want everybody to go and read that book. Very important book. Because the battle is in the mind. Once you can win that battle in your mind, you've won. So when the devil comes after a situation or an argument, the enemy starts to paint a lot of things on your mind. Counter it with the word of God. There's no challenges we're going through that is not in the word. There's no scripture that is there for us to use. So work on your mind. Block out those ideas, those images that the enemy is bringing. Paint it. Start thinking about the positive things about your spouse. And you discover that your sentiment override will improve tremendously. So those are ways in which we can build friendship. And we really need to build friendship. Friendship will help us in difficult times. Now, I want to also talk about, we need to make commitments with all these things I've mentioned to us. Build your love map. Get to know each other better. Talk together. Know your wife's needs. Know your husband's needs. Needs are constantly changing. So you must keep an update on your love map. Be fond of one another. Tell him, when my husband dresses so nice and is wearing a suit, I say, bobo, momo. And I know he's always excited. Then in March, I say, go, fire, thunder, brimstone. So, whatever it is that you know, you say to your husband that makes him to be happy. What do you say to your wife that makes your wife to be happy? Please, we need to practice that. If you have not been doing it before, start it. As we build relationship, as we build friendship, our romance will improve, our love for one another will improve, and then we're able to overcome challenges. Another thing we need to work on quickly, I'll mention that before I hand over to my husband, is communication. Communication is very, very important in marriage. The way you handle your communication will determine how you overcome challenging times. Now, in communication, you have the sender and the receiver. Now, it is the duty of the sender to ensure that that information is passed across to the receiver the way he or she wants it. So, if you are communicating and you are not getting the right results that you want from your spouse, then you should know that you are not communicating appropriately. So you need to change your mode of communication. Because if I want my husband to take this glass cup and put it in front of Mrs. Bayoko, and I keep communicating, and instead of putting it there, he's bringing it here, he's taking it to the other side, then I have not communicated. Then I have to change my mode of communication. Make sure that he understands what I'm saying better, so I can get the results that I am looking for. If I want a change and my spouse is not changing as much communication, then I need to change the way I'm communicating. Very important. Now, in communication, there are different communication styles. You have assertive style, passive and aggressive style. Now, passive, it means that the person is aggressive inside, but is passive on the outside. The person is not finding it easy to, instead of communicating at all, the person is not communicating. That's passive. And the person is bottling up the aggression on the inside. You have passive, if you have passive and aggressive, you lose, both of you lose, there's no intimacy. If you have aggressive and aggressive, that is when we are communicating, we are just fighting, we are arguing, nobody understands each other. Aggressive and aggressive, no intimacy. But when you are assertive, when both of you are assertive, that is, I'm able to share my feelings without fighting my partner. And without saying it in such a way that will build up a defense from my partner. So that means if I want to be assertive, I have to learn to be assertive too. Because when I want to talk and I feel that for him to really get my message, I should be angry. I should show some emotions, but it doesn't work that way. So I need to be assertive. I need to calm down and think of a way I can present it to him. That I will not be angry, that I will not be furious. So I first deal with my own emotion, then I approach my spouse. And I'm able to discuss with him amicably on that same issue that could have created an argument. So let's be assertive. In Africa, women are not taught to be assertive, but we need to be assertive. Don't keep anything on your inside, don't be passive. Discuss every issue as it comes, but make sure you are discussing it with the assertive style. When you are angry, go and deal with yourself, both man and women, and then come down, come back, sit together and express yourself. So that's an assertive style, and when you follow that style, the intimacy increases. So let's cultivate an assertive style in our communication. And then also, when communicating, don't let us use the you. That's the statement. It's better to say, I wish we can spend more time together. You are changing the context of your statement now. I wish we can spend time together. Instead of, you never spend time with me. I don't know what you are doing outside. Do you understand? Those are two different statements. Now, one is addressing the person. The other one is addressing the situation. Let's try as much as possible not to address the person but the situation at hand. So that's again active listening. When you are communicating, you need to listen actively. Most of us, when we are communicating, when our wife is talking to us, our husband is talking to us, we are on the phone. Half of it we don't hear. In trainings, to show the importance of communication, if I tell him something now and I said we should pass it across, by the time it gets to the last person, the information is distorted completely. So we need to be active listening. When my spouse is talking to me, let me turn to him or her. Look at him in the face. Look at him in the face. Now, when you are doing active listening, you need to take note of their facial expression, their body language. All those things are very key. So pay attention and listen. When you do that, the other person feels valued. You make them to feel so important that, oh, that means that he really wants to listen to me. And what I'm saying is so important. So practice active listening to one another. Make sure you are listening attentively. Then again, time to communicate. It's not every time you should communicate an important issue. Find a suitable time. Me, I know I can't communicate anything when football is going on. Forget it. So if I say that it's football time that I want to communicate with my husband, I won't achieve anything. Because we just say, okay, yes, he's looking at Messi, he's looking at Arsenal. Oh, nothing. So I choose not to use football time to discuss anything. Look at the best time where you can discuss with your husband or where you can discuss with your wife. Very important. Look at the settings as well. Look at the settings where the discussion should take place. If you know that his friends are there, that's not a time to discuss. If you know that she's busy 247 in the kitchen, she's not giving you complete attention, that's not the best time to discuss. So look for the appropriate time for you to discuss. And then when your husband or wife is also available. At times I want to discuss something with my husband and he will tell me that, look, at times he's back from work and I just want to share, offload my burdens and all that. And he will say, look, I'm tired. He's not going to put me down. He's not going to sit down and say, you didn't hear anything. You say, look, honey, I am tired. Just give me some time. We will discuss this issue. And my husband himself, when he's ready, will say, you were saying something the other time. Can we discuss about it now? And then for us women and men, the Bible says, do unto others as you want them to do unto you. You must deal with your partner as yourself. Most of us as women, we think the men don't have anybody. They just go to work and they come back. They have a lot that they are thinking about, a lot on their shoulders as well. And then men also, they feel that the women, they are not doing anything. They need to take care of children. If we swap roles, you will know how important each of our roles are. Both of us, if we exchange roles, maybe we will now value the role of one another. But where I'm going is appreciate each other. Appreciate the role that each one of you is playing in that marriage. God has graced each and every one of us to be able to fulfill the roles we are playing. As a woman, we are multitasking, we can multitask a lot of things. Men cannot. And that role, God has given it to us for a purpose, and it's to bring glory to his name. So I want us, in communication, please let's communicate appropriately with one another. I want each and every one of us to practice assertiveness. At times I'm fuming, I want to talk, but when I remember assertiveness, and I know that I get more results from it, I go back and calm myself. Holy Spirit, help me. Teach me how to say it. Teach me the right word to use. And by the time I present it, things that are so difficult to do, I'll discover by the time I present it, it will do it very fast. So these are the points that I want to share with us today. I'm going to hand over to my husband, who's going to also talk more. But friendship is very key in resolving conflicts and in overcoming challenging times. Thank you.